Eli Sharabi was, up until October 7th, 2023, a kibbutznik from Be'eri with a happy family, a happy life, and a brother who lived nearby. On that horrific morning, he was kidnapped, taken into Gaza, and held in the most inhuman conditions. After 491 days, he emerged, he was released, and emerged the shadow of himself, only to discover his wife and daughters were murdered and his brother died in Gaza. His story of survival captivated the world. He's become a tireless advocate for the release of his friends, his fellow hostages, and his book, Hostage, the first published account by a released Israeli hostage, shot to the bestseller list in Israel. It is now coming out in English, and we are very honored and privileged to talk to you today. Eli, thank you for talking to us.
It's my honor. Thank you very much for having me.
It truly is ours, Eli. I know this isn't a journalist's classic first question, but could you tell us how are you, how you're doing?
I'm fine, getting stronger day by day, taking care of myself, and just coming back now for my therapy. It's a weekly therapy. I'm training every day. I'm eating good. I'm surrounded by family and friends. I'm very, very busy with my lectures and my book, and I'm very happy.
There's so much to tell, Eli, in your extraordinary book. It's a very, very powerful book, telling obviously an extraordinary story. But there's one word you've used when you were talking actually about the Hebrew edition of the book, speaking to our friend and colleague Ilana Dayan about yourself, and you described yourself as lucky. You say, contrary to what people think, I'm not angry, I'm lucky. And that is such in a way, a shocking, surprising word to hear you use about yourself, given everything, the horrors you describe in the book. Just tell us what you meant by that, and whether you still feel lucky.
No problem. First of all, I never consider myself as a victim. I'm a survivor, and I'm very, very lucky. Not just lucky. I'm very lucky to be alive. I'm very lucky to be free. Still, after more than 700 days, there's some hostages that not free. And freedom is priceless. To be able to choose what to do in your morning, to go to the bathroom without asking permission, to open a fridge and to choose for yourself what to eat and what to drink and when to do it. It's amazing. I'm very lucky that I had Lian for 28 years. I'm very lucky to had my daughters for 16 and 13 years. And I had wonderful time with them. I'm grateful for these years. I'm surrounded by circles of love from my friends and my special and unique family that fought for me for 491 days, stopped their life for me. So I'm very lucky to have all this. I'm very lucky that, people in Israel were very, cared about hostages and the hostage families and helped them a lot, and fought for me at the streets for 491 days and secured my release. So I consider myself a very lucky man.
Is it also beyond luck, which you talk about, and it's a very moving thing that you say about yourself, but is it also strength of character? Because that really comes out in the book. The decision, I mean, you had no idea, I assume, if you would ever be released, but the decision to choose life, you use the word choice a lot. You say you always have a choice. It is something also about the type of person that you are, that you manage to survive in this way, no?
I always been in my life. I'm a very practical, have a very practical personality. Whatever happened to me, I always find, first of all, to be optimistic and to see the light in all this darkness. And, I always try to find my way and to see forward. And so, and in captivity, you have so many like junctions and decisions of life and death. And then your choices and what you're choosing, it's become very critical. But still, you have. I didn't choose, what happened to me when to be kidnapped on October 7. I didn't choose what happened to us on October 7, but I always chose how to react in captivity to my captors and with my other fellow hostages. So all these places, you choose your battles and how to respond. And so for me, it's all by choosing.
Yeah, and you make one choice as the story you tell in the book on October the 7th, the morning itself, when you're in the safe room that proves not to be a safe room and not to protect you, but you make a decision that when the terrorists come in, you will not attempt some fighting back at that moment, that you will comply with what they want to do. You make that decision, I think it's collectively with your wife, even if it's unspoken, that's the decision you make. Even then, in that moment, what enabled you to make that decision, that choice?
Well, I can say it's almost was the one of my easy choices to make because when we understood what's happening in our neighborhood and other neighbors, and we've seen all these messages from kids that people shot mom and dad, and so we knew the situation can be escalated and easily. And me and Lian and I made a choice that we're not going to fight. We presume I'll be kidnapped or they kill me, but they will be safe because they're British passports. So that was a very easy choice for me to how to protect my daughters. I wrote it to my friends, I just hope nobody will touch Lian and my daughters. So we almost knew what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, the result is very not good for me, and maybe I could, did something differently. So maybe to not to fight wasn't the good decision. I don't know that.
Do you think about that today? Is it something that goes through your mind?
Yes, all the time. If it was the right decision, I don't know. I don't know really, because some of my friends fought and been shot dead, all the family, and some of my friends fought and succeed to avoid from kidnapping and been killed. So there's many, many stories. I don't know what could happen in my house if I would make, any resist or fighting with them, with my bare hands or just hold the door if it will be okay. I don't know. I don't know if it's the right decision. As I said, for us, because Liane and my daughters had this British passport, we presume this is the best choice for them, not to fight and just to show the British passport. And they knew that in the minute they opened the safe room door, they knew about their British passports. They understood that 5 minutes after I've been kidnapped, I've been told they got shot.
I have to say, as the Brit in this conversation, that moment, that passage in the book, it was very moving to me. The hope that you had that somehow a British passport would act as some kind of protection, and it was particularly poignant because, as Israelis, the Israelis are raised to believe that Israel will protect them. that being Israeli is a protection because the Israeli army can protect you. You don't need a foreign passport. It should be enough that you're Israeli. And in those moments when you're hearing and seeing these terrible messages from your friends and neighbors on the kibbutz, realizing that the danger you're all in and the degree of the scale of the attack that's underway, you do say that you're thinking, where is the army and where are they? And I wonder what you think about that now. Obviously, so much more happened afterwards, but just because when people hear this conversation, it will be the anniversary, the second anniversary of October the 7th. And I wonder what you think about that absence on that day.
There's no doubt about October 7 that the army wasn't there and the army didn't act like it's supposed to. There's no doubt about that. Nobody can argue with that. I think after an hour in the safe room, and we understood that the suspicious infiltrating, of Hamas terrorists to our kibbutz. I promised Lian and the girls that the army will arrive, as always. But after 3.5 hours, we understood it's not going to happen. We understood that the situation is out of control in the kibbutz. So when we got this decision, we counted about the British passports because we believed, they have problem with the Israelis, with the Jews maybe, I don't know, but they don't have problem with the Britain or France or United States or other countries. We know people with other passports. But ironic, I was kidnapped with someone from Thailand, that showed them his Thailand passport. So I can't really think what they had on their mind. And I was very worried about Lian and my girls all this period in captivity. I didn't really want to believe the result will be like that. But it was one of the scenarios that I took, I took as something that can happen.
We'll go into your time there being held in Gaza, but at that very day when you were released, and you go into great detail of how you were forced to say things to the Hamas camera. One of them is that question about how excited you are to meet your wife and daughter. And I think Israelis were in all this so shocked to understand what they knew and you didn't yet know. It really is this sort of evil that is very hard to comprehend, the evil of the people that held you. Is it something that you think about, or it's something that you try and put sort of in a drawer and not deal with?
We've seen there is evil for 491 days, especially in the tunnels, 50 meters underground. We met, really very cruel terrorists of Hamas. We've been 52 days before that in the house, in Palestinian family house. But the cruelty that we met in the tunnels were beyond something we could imagine. So we understood that. But to tell you the truth, I'm not sure that the people that hold me in captivity all these days knew about what happened to my family. I really don't. I'm not sure about that. Maybe they knew, maybe they don't. But for sure, the people that asked me in this really bad ceremony that they made in this Dir el-Balach at the end of the day of my release, they knew for sure that what happened to my family. And this question wasn't just, very naive question. But I'm trying not to stay on these things, and I don't want anything to hold me back with my new life, to rebuild my life from the beginning. And so I'm looking forward all the time, and I don't care what happened anymore. I remember my daughters and my wife as they were. Every day of my life until my last day, but it will be alongside of my life, not instead of my life. That's it. I love my life, so I want to live them with lots of things to do, to be busy, and to be with my friends and my family all the time. And I'm really, really happy.
I'm struck listening to you that you are in a way taking your own advice. The advice you give in one scene to a fellow hostage, to Or, who is sobbing and just cannot stop for days, is crying, and and people will have to sort of read the whole passage, but you are empathetic to him, you're not harsh to him, but you tell him this self-pity has to stop. You cannot carry on with self-pity. It's a very strong phrase, because it's tough love there, but you yourself are not allowing yourself now, Eli Sharabi, afterwards to succumb to self-pity.
Jonathan, really, I don't have any privilege to stay in bed and cry all day. I don't have it because people fought for me for 491 days. How can I do that? And my self-pity was, self-pity it's like a curse for me. It's nothing, nothing's right with that. It doesn't give me any meaning, or I can't find any strength from something like that. Being sad or something like that, it's not giving me any strength. And I'm always trying to find things that help me with my life, not hold me back. And that when I've seen these young guys that I knew they don't have the tools that I have and the experience that I have for my life, so I said to them from the beginning, you can cry, you can break, no problem. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and that's it. You can do it every day. You can do it twice a day, no problem. But the most of the day, you care about the people that we are fighting to see them again, because they don't know what's happening with us. One of my wishes, my dream, that I had one phone call and just to say my family, I'm okay. Don't worry. Because I knew they don't know what's happening with me. So they're very worried about me because I knew they're okay. That's how I look at that. So I said to Or, I don't know what happened with your wife, but I'm sure your son is fine and somebody is taking care of him and all this, and your parents are fine, but they don't know what's happening with you. So if you get one phone call, you need to say to them, don't worry about me, I'm fine. That's it.
Your paternal relationship with Elia, and particularly with Alon, Ohel, which is kind of the heart of this book. I think one of the more emotional moments is when you call Alon's parents after you've been released. You tell them everything that you know about them, that you've heard in that long time that you were together in the tunnel underground. It has been 6 months almost to the day that you were released, Eli, and Alon is still there. How confident are you that he will see his parents again?
That's a very tough question. I don't know about if I'm confident or not, but I hope he will see them. And to see him a week ago in that film that Hamas released, just for a few seconds, with Guy Gilboa Dalal, it'd be loads, to be proud of him. And in that phone call to his parents, first of all, it was my moral duty to do it on the first minute I'm released, to speak with them, with mother and a father that really they're worried all the time, every minute of the day, to their son. And so it's something I had to do, and to phone them and tell them their son is very tough and can survive this hell. And I'm sure he can do that. And this film we got a week ago showed them that is very tough, and he has all he needs to survive. So I hope we'll see him one day with his family, and after that I can be with him as well. But first of all, I need to be with his family, and I love him so really. I love him dearly. He's a great kid. He's so talented. He's lovely, lovely guy, really.
That love actually does come through in the book. And one thing, the book is not without humor in very unexpected moments. And one of my favorite moments is when you ask Alon to start telling you about himself, and including about this 8 months of traveling he's done. And he says to you, what, you want me to tell you about all the 8 months? And you say, are you in a rush somewhere? like you've got somewhere else to be, which is, I just thought it was a very lovely moment. And it says something about, as Yonit says, this kind of father-son relationship you have with him. But I do want to pick up Yonit's question about how much you can be confident about his release. One of the in the future, and one of the few moments of anger in the book does come when I think the first ceasefire breaks down, and you don't hear about it directly, but you realize that's what's happening, and you say, how could they go back to fighting while we are still trapped here? What's going on? And I'm reading that now when the war is still going on. You were marveling then that it could be still going on after 3 months, and here we are at 2 years. And I just wonder if if you have a version of that feeling now towards the decision makers that mean, yes, it's not you now, but it is Alon and others, that the fighting is continuing and that there hasn't been a ceasefire and a hostage release deal to end this thing.
That's what you do in Captivity. You keep believe and you don't stop. You have a lot of faith that you're going to be released one day. I almost promised them that. I don't know how I did it. Yes, maybe it's stupidity. I don't know to promise them that. But I promised them that I don't know what the Israeli politician doing for us. But I knew what Mossad and Shabak and all the professional people that working in this war, working on our release, going to sleep with us and wake up with us, and having every moment of the day they busy with our release. I promised them that to this to all Elia and Alon. So you have to believe all the time you are going to be released, but after the first ceasefire finished and Israel and Hamas continue this war, we understood it's not going to be the day after tomorrow or something like that. So because of that, we need to have a routine in our day, and it's going to take some time, but one day it's going to happen. What can I say to you? When for me it happened. For another, let's say 20, that's what we know, other hostages that are alive, it still didn't. The families seeing things, on the right way to release their sons, and it's making me very, very sad.
One of the things we should tell our listeners who aren't in Israel that very, very shortly after you were released, you gave your first interview to Ilana Dayan, and you said a sentence there that became sort of this quote that even has become posters in Israel. You said about the release of the hostages, it isn't right, it isn't left, it's just a straightforward thing. Ze lo yamin, ze lo smol, ze yashar. It's common sense that you need to release them. Are you surprised, coming back to a different Israel, being released and coming back, are you surprised that it's become a politicized issue, the issue of the hostages?
It's frustrating that everything in Israel become politics. Every issue, it's become politics. Even human life become politics, and that shocked me. And so I could understand that. And what I've said in Ilana Dayan just came, automatically from bottom of my heart, just like how it's become politically something like that. How they know what Urom Beslavsky or Eviatar David or Alon Ohel thinking about politics or the right or left. Who cares about that? We're caring about their life, and we need to secure their release as soon as possible. That's it. Unfortunately, it's taking too much time.
I think it's obvious to me why this would become the best-selling book in Israeli history, why Israelis would just need to hear your voice on this. I think one reason why there will be great interest in it around the world, including people who are not Jewish, will be this human question about how somebody endures the torment and the suffering that you went through for those 491 days. And I don't know which of them you want to talk about, but it feels to me there are sort of clues in the book about what got you through it. I mean, I'll just mention one scene which affected you and other hostages when one of your fellow hostages says a prayer, the grace after meals, Birkat Hamazon, which many of you have not heard for a long time, and yet it has great power for you. You play backgammon and cards, that gets you through some hours. And then there is something one of your fellow hostages, who we've talked about a lot on this podcast, Hirsch Goldberg Polin, something he says to you, which becomes a kind of rule or a sort of like a proverb or something. And I wonder if you would just share with us what that was and why it had such an effect and how it sits alongside those other things, whether it's Birchat Hamazon or backgammon, about how it got you through what you went through.
In captivity, you look for anything that gave you strength. So it can be many sources, that you have around your support from your friends or things you heard or this faith in God or something like that. Anything that gives you strength, it's great. But I think what Hirsch Goldberg, when he said to us, this sentence from Viktor Frankl book that he read, that when you have why, you can bear anyhow. It's like focusing me about something I'm acting, but I didn't know how to give this, to this behavior. I didn't know what sentence to give, and it's become very, very right for me. This sentence with what I felt. So since he said that to us, and unfortunately we've been with him just 3 days, with him, with Almog and Ori Danino before we were separated. And after that, they've been murdered in other tunnel. And we were shocked when we heard that after we stayed there already 14 months at home. So this sentence been with us every day in our 14 months in captivity in the tunnels. And we've talked about this sentence. We said to each other, why do we need to survive? And each one of us said that. And we've done a lot of things to support this sentence and what he meant to say to us, Hirsch. And that was amazing. And these prayers every day in the morning, and especially on Friday. All four of us, we are unreligious people. I came from 35 years of living in Kibbutz Be'eri. It's far, far away from to be religious. Yeah. I was married to an English woman that wasn't Jewish. So I'm not religious. But to say this Kiddush every Friday evening and keep a quarter of pita bread just to do Hamotzi Lechem Min Haaretz, and to say Eshet Chayil to my mom, to my wife, to my sisters. It's all become like something that we could united around all the hostages, and it remind us it's Friday meal, Friday evening meal with our family, and all these things give you a lot of strength. And so the faith, it's not just about to be religious. It's about something that unites you with your memories and with your family. And that's amazing. That was sometimes more than a meal for us. So we could, we were held by anything that gave us strength.
This might be a small question, by the way, but how did you know what time it was underground in darkness? Did you ask them? Did you ask them what day it is? I mean, how do you even know to note the passage of time?
First of all, I'm a number person.
Yep.
I used to be a
You,
CFO
yeah.
in my former life, before October 7. So numbers is something I love. To count days, it was a part of me working in my surviving mode. It was obvious I need to do it. The moment they push me into the car, at the back of the car in October 7, I start to count the minutes we are driving towards Gaza, just to understand where I am. Count days for me, it was obvious thing to do, and to know the date, the time of the, if it's morning or noon or evening, we knew about, because we knew their time of praying. They pray 5 times a day. And we asked them, like we're asking about the religious, and they were very happy about that, because we're asking about Islam. And they were very proud we are asking about Islam, like we are interested. But we actually wanted from them other information about what direction they are praying to. So just I need to know the direction in Gaza and the time of the day.
Just on your point about being a numbers guy, one of the in the opening phase of your captivity, when you are above ground, I just again was very struck by this. You did say how, despite everything, even though you knew they would kill you in a heartbeat if they had to, you did get close to your captors. You were even showing them some basics about economics that you were teaching them, showing them decision trees and the like. So you were always the CFO didn't stop even when you were a captive in Gaza. I'm just bound to ask one thing about these rituals. You say you and your those other three fellow hostages were not religious people, but nevertheless you found meaning in some of those religious practices. And I'm just interested to know whether you have continued any of them afterwards, now as a free man, whether Eshet Chayil, the prayer, or for your mother perhaps, or the other things you mentioned, the blessings and Friday night and so on. Has that continued to be part of your life afterwards?
Of course, but it was a part of my life even before October 7. I used to do it in my house with my daughters, because Kiddush for me on Friday night, it's not something religious for me.
For sure.
It's more something that I can do with my family. And it was a great thing. And they've seen that with, we used to go to my parents and to my brothers and sisters for Friday evening meals, So it wasn't strange for me to do it in captivity. And definitely I'm doing all this today. And my face that I had this like private, somebody that looked for me, it becomes stronger because, I had really, really more than 10 times of places I could, I've seen death very, very close to me. And on all these times, I stayed alive. So for me, I had more than a second chance, So I'm really, really grateful for that.
One of the things that strikes you when you read your story and you hear you is really the levels of hatred that the people who held you have towards Israelis and towards Jews. It's sadism, the way that they torture you in captivity, things that you went through. And you say at some point that you're not sure it's only ideology. They know so little about Israel. I wonder if there's the sort of pits of hate, to say nothing of the fact that you were almost lynched on your way into Gaza. Do you understand that kind of level of hate? Is there anything, I'm looking for this sort of optimism that says one day it's possible to deal with that, or it's just something to give up on?
First of all, you understand after you're talking with them day after day, how they're brainwashed, and they know really, really little about Israel and Israelis. And they almost sure that most of us really hate them and wanted to kill them every day, and just because they are Muslims. And it's something, that you understand that really it's all brainwashed. They're all brainwashed, and it's something you can fix just from educated them better than the education in Gaza today. It started in this age, and to give them all this knowledge about, the right knowledge about other people than Palestinians or than Muslims, but they're really hate us, and they think that all world should be Islam. They said to me that more than one time, more than dozens of times. They told me that after they finish with the Israelis, they will go to France and Britain and United States, and all the world should be Muslims. So that's what how they believe. This is jihad. Um, it's very hard, to argue with that without, piss them off and all this. So I try not to, I've tried not to upset them. I've tried to explain to them a lot of things, like you mentioned, Jonathan, about economics. So I try to explain to them how their life will be better when it will be stability in this area and no wars, and big companies can invest in this in place. They have a stability, and their life, they will have a job, and all this circle about economics and how it will improve their life. Some of them listen, and some of them were interested about what I've said, but most of them just keep on and on with their jihad methodology.
Yeah. And I think one of the people you're explaining all this to says to you, well, if only all Israelis were like you, as if you're some exception. And you say to him,
Yes.
most Israelis are actually like me. But he can't really compute that because he has this image, this sort of devil image of Israelis and Jews. But
Yes, exactly. It was, I was in shock when he said that to me, really. And I really looked at him and said, most of Israel is like me, want just to live in peace, and they don't care about wars, and nobody want to kill you, and nobody hate you. And even now, I don't hate you. You kidnapped me and I don't hate you, really. So he was really, really impressed from me that I'm like that. And
I have to say that people will find hard to believe.
Yeah,
Ellie.
I mean, did you mean it when you said you don't hate?
Right.
I don't hate you.
I don't hate them. I really don't hate them. I don't hate anyone. I'm not angry about anyone. Not about Israeli government. I'm not angry about the army that wasn't there in October 7th for us. But I'm not angry because all these feelings, I feel that it hold me back with my life, with my healing, and to rebuild myself. So I'm not really. I'm trying not to be sad. I'm trying not to be angry. Because of that, I'm not watching any television. Since I was released, I didn't watch any television, not news, not anything.
Because you worried it would make you angry again.
Yes, well, the more that what you hear in news and what politicians says, from all sides, can make you angry about, how stupid things you're talking about when people are going to die there and suffering there. In the meantime, you're talking about, rubbish.
There is a point in the book where you talk about the fact that when Itamar Ben-Gvir, the Minister of National Security, cuts down the rations of food to prisoners, to Palestinian terrorists in Israeli prisons, you yourself, your fellow hostages, you suffer from this, and your meals have been cut to one a day. I think starvation, that hunger, all of that is the most painful part of what you describe. You're not angry at him for this, for that?
You can say I'm angry or not, but I just pointed the fact that what they've said to us. It's not. I'm not saying my opinion or about that or something. It was a fact. They said Ben-Gvir did to our prisoners something like that and that. From now on, you're just going to eat one meal a day. It was a fact. I didn't say it's because of that. I didn't presume that. That was a fact. That was they said to us. Um, of course, in that moment, you're angry about everything, because you just wanted to survive. You just, you care about how you survive on one meal a day. So, but it's not, since I was released, as I'm sitting all day and I said, Ben Gvir is the bad person and all this. I'm not, I'm not dealing with that. I don't think about Itamar Ben Gvir every day. I'm waking up in the morning.
So
It's
you're
not something
consciously not
I'm doing.
angry. You're just consciously not angry.
I'm not angry. I'm not angry. It's not something I want to deal with, anger.
In a way, it's another one of those choices that you're making that you
You're right.
describe. It's
Exactly.
another.
Exactly. I'm managing every situation like I manage all my life. I got a decision when I was 16 years old to move from Tel Aviv to a kibbutz on my own. It's a decision I make. I manage every situation in my life, in my work, in my family, in captivity, everything I'm managing. So after the day I was released, I've managed any situation that happened to me, and all the information I got about my brother, my fam, and Lian Noya in the hell, and everything. So I'm managing my feelings as well. I'm, I'm not going to be angry. It's something that will hold me back if I want to rebuild my life. That's it. I'm a very practical man. I know.
Just on this point about decision, you write about decision your sister Osnat took, which was to bury your wife and daughters not on or near Kibbutz Be'eri, but rather near to where she lives. And you write that you were glad about that decision, as if you didn't want to go back to Be'eri. And I just wondered, the book was written in Hebrew a few months ago, about whether you've stuck to that decision and not gone back to the kibbutz that was your home, and just to explain why that is that you don't want to go there.
Since October 7, I promised myself for 491 days until I understood what happened to Lian Noya in the hell. I promised myself, and I talked with that about the captors and about the other hostages. There's no way I will see this fear again on my daughter's eyes like in October 7. So for me, Barry belonged to the history, because the day I will release, I'll take a week or two, but we organized ourselves, and I'll take Lian, Noya, and the hell, and we move back to London and to live there. And I don't care what I'm going to do there. I will work in the supermarket. I didn't care. So this decision that Be'eri belonged to the history, I made it already in captivity. So when Osnat said to me, after I understood what happened, that my wife and my daughter has been murdered, and I asked her where they are buried, and she told me in Kfar Arif, that's where the place she lives. I said to her, excellent decision. Because two things. First of all, it's not in Be'eri, so it's not something I wanted for me to be belong to anymore, to this area anymore. And second, because they really, really loved my oldest sister, and we spend loads of time with my sister, and for me that they are close to her when she lives, it means a lot. That's it. So because of that, so Barry belonged to the history. I am grateful for Barry community, what they did for me since I was 16 years old, and I've worked in the in central roles in Kibbutz Be'eri as the treasure man, as the business manager there. I'm Eli Sharabi, thanks to where I've raised and grew up, and I'll always be grateful to Be'eri community. But enough, it's enough, and I'm not going to be in this area anymore. I need a new start. It's going to be in the central of Israel. That's it.
Tell us more about that new life of yours, how you're rebuilding your life. What are you doing? The new Eli
Ah,
Sharabi.
oh, the things I've done in 6 months since I was released, I think will be enough for 10 years for other people. Um, I'm all over the world. I'm doing lectures in Israel and abroad in all Jewish communities in United States, United Kingdom. I just came back from Australia. I've been in Mexico. I've been in Monaco, and I've been lots of places in the world. I've written a book that was for me. It's amazing how it succeeded because I didn't expect anything of that. I asked in the first meeting with the publishers in Israel. I asked, first of all, who's buying books in Israel? And the second, what will be a success? And they said to me, 20,000 books in Israel in a year or for many years will be a very good success. And we've sold in 3 months almost 100,000 copies. I'm very happy about all these results. I'm working very hard. I'm very, very busy. I'm not in my comfort zone. I'm taking, photo shoots for me. I'm talking with the media. I don't like it at all.
You've become a hero. I assume you can't walk anywhere without being accosted by Israelis, talking to you and wanting to hug you and wanting to, say lovely things
Yes,
to you.
and so I'm not a hero. For me, a commander in the IDF that taking his soldiers into Gaza is much more hero than me. I didn't ask, to be kidnapped. I just needed to survive after it's happened to me. So I'm not a hero. I'm a very simple and ordinary man, believe me. Um, that's it. But I'm busy. I'm happy. I'm with my family. I'm with my friends. Um, I'm touching, hugging, um, talking, knowing loads of people since I was released. I'm very happy about that. I love people. That's it. So I'm very, very happy.
I think that's a good point at which to end, Eli. It's been a great privilege, as I think we knew it would be, to speak with you. The book is called Hostage. It comes out now, and I think it is essential reading for anyone to understand this extraordinary experience you've had and how you've come through it. But we are very grateful you've spoken to us for Unholy. Eli Sharabi, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Eddie.